Thanks. And this decision by the Nunavut Impact Review Board has taken 4 years. That's the longest decision in the agency's history. The board, known as NERB locally, is responsible for making recommendations to the federal cabinet about whether mining projects in Nunavut are acceptable to Nunavummiut. 4 years ago, the Mary River Iron Ore mine, owned by the Baffinland Company, put forward a proposal to double their production of iron ore from 6 million to 12 million tons annually, and put in a 100-kilometer railway to allow for easier shipping. They said at the time that if the increase wasn't granted, they would have to put the mine into care and maintenance. That's mining lingo for closing shop. Mary River is very close to both Pond Inlet and Arctic Bay, Nunavut. Some residents there have reported drops in wildlife since the mine opened. They also famously protested last year by blocking off the runway and mining road at the mine site, ceasing production for a week. On the other hand, there are 300 Inuit who work at that mine, and many of the local community councils came out in favor of the project. Early Friday evening, NERB made their recommendation. They don't think the mine should be allowed to proceed. In a letter to Northern Affairs Minister Dan Vandel, the NERB wrote that the proposed expansion has the potential to result in significant adverse ecosystemic effects on marine animals and fish, caribou, and other terrestrial wildlife, along with vegetation and freshwater, and these effects could lead to associated significant adverse socio-economic effects on Inuit harvesting, culture, land use, and food security in Nunavut. As for the mine, Baffinland is playing it cool for now. In a press release, their CEO wrote, "We at Baffinland are disappointed in the NERB recommendation. Our Phase 2 proposal is based on years of in-depth study and detailed scientific analysis, and has considerable local support based on years of consultation with Inuit and local communities. We will be asking the federal government to consider all of the evidence and input to approve the Phase 2 application with fair and reasonable conditions." So now the decision lies with this man, Northern Affairs Minister Dan Vandel. The feds have 90 days to agree or disagree with the NERB decision. But there is a third way. Now, back in 2016, a western Nunavut gold mine was turned down by the NERB. Instead of agreeing or disagreeing, the feds kicked the decision back to NERB, asking them to find another way. A year later, they did. So, after the longest regulatory process in the territory's history, this may not be the actual end of the Mary River discussion. Ken Driscoll, APTN National News, Iqaluit.